Hey, what's going on, Vikings fans? Skol back again, and another Skol cast episode. More off-season conversation that I think all Vikings fans need to have. And today, we're addressing the biggest issue from the Minnesota Vikings that it feels like for the past decade, ever since the Favre season, is the offensive line. What the hell are we going to expect from them next year? I think there's a couple guys that we specifically want to talk about, such as Reef, his contract, Bradbury, obviously the terrible guard play that's haunted us over the past years. And then also Brian O'Neill, he's got a contract coming up. He didn't look as good as he did last year, but he was still pretty solid. Anyway, so we're going to talk about what to expect from the offensive line. Mike, you want to take it away? What are some thoughts you have going into next year about the O-line and how to improve it?
Yeah, sure. So the O-line, I mean, obviously there's always that issue, like you said, Pat, the guard, the interior pressure has always been a problem, especially, with Kirk Cousins, your quarterback, not being mobile. Just getting, there's always those times where you just get pushed back, you just see right away. It's not even like any resistance given. There's so many plays where you see Bradbury getting pushed back, and Dakota Dozier this year saw it a lot. But yeah, so, I just wish the Vikings would just go all in for once. I feel like they just piece together every. They go get like Brian O'Neill. We all kind of. He kind of came on. Everyone kind of thought it was maybe a reach pick, but he developed into a pretty good offensive tackle. And then they got Ezra Cleveland last year. They didn't really play him much. So, but they have to. I think they've got to go all in. They got to really just. Cousins is really a perfect offensive line to really be successful because, there's times where his pocket presence is okay, where he'll, kind of run out or, find that spot, slide around. But there's other times where he just doesn't. He just kind of stands there and he just ends up running backwards or taking a sack. So, they have to address the guard position, in my opinion. I think Reef is a prime guy for them to cut. His cap hit, he had probably his best year this year overall when you look at it, but he's getting older, and I think his cap hit, I think it's like $13 million or something like that, which is a lot.
Yeah.
You pay offensive tackles a lot, but he's getting up to that age where they just, I don't think they can afford that. They got to address some other issues because I think they have to do is let Ezra Cleveland play tackle next year, left tackle, where that's what they drafted him for. You got to see what he can do there, and then go, in free agency. Hopefully, they can free up some cap space. Get a guard or just draft like 2 or 3 guards in the draft and just beef up that interior offensive line. I think that will, if they can do that, I think, they'll be well on their way. Because I think like the Vikings have the skill guys. We've seen it. Can they, get the offensive line right where Cousins, is not really getting a ton of pressure at all times. So, yeah, I think that's what they got to do. They got to find a way to beef up the interior because it's been a problem forever for the Vikings. They just seem to never address it, which is really frustrating because you know what Cousins' limitations are. Like you said, and we said before, he can't handle interior pressure. That's just not what he does. So why not go fix it?
Yep.
Give him the best chance to see it. So that's all I got.
Yep.
Yeah, one thing I've learned from watching football all the time is you really can't have a weak link in your offensive line, and obviously not all of them are going to be like. You're not going to have 5 studs out there most of the time, but you can't have someone like Dakota Dozier and, he was, like, I hate to say it, he was a weak link, and I feel bad that I still said those nice things about him after the Lions game.
You jinxed him ever since then.
Really good.
That was all on you. That was the jinx of the year for Dozier.
I did. And literally after that game, he stunk. Right? He was bad. He was probably pretty bad before that, but, probably looked pretty good playing next to Drew Samia.
Yeah,
but,
it's true.
For me, I think I agree with Mike. They drafted Ezra Cleveland to play left tackle. The first move we're going to see, and it's going to come up pretty quickly here, we'll probably start to see it in late January or February, sometime in February, when, teams start making decisions on guys, and we're going to find out where the salary cap's going to be at. What they do with Riley Reef. He has a year left in his contract, $13 million cap hit. They probably are going to have to cut him. And that means, are they going to believe in themselves that they drafted Ezra Cleveland to be the left tackle? Now, Cleveland For playing a right guard, I mean, he wasn't great, obviously, but it's not. I mean, he was probably as good as we probably could have expected, right? I mean,
Yeah.
for a left tackle who hasn't played guard since high school,
Yeah.
and he had to play on the right side because they could have moved Dakota Dozier. God forbid we move him. All we really had to do was put Ezra on the left side and maybe play Brett Jones, my favorite squatty body on the Vikings. He is a big fella.
He's
Right?
pretty at
He
the
has some
guard.
beef. But I really, for me, is I said it in our last podcast, is Brad Sharif, Joe Thuney, and there's a couple other guards out there I got to get familiar with the free agency.
Yeah.
This is probably the year where I don't know how much money they're going to have. I don't know where they're going to put their free agency. Offensive guard is I know they don't like spending money there because they really haven't. This is the year where they're probably going to have to do it. They need to solidify that guard position because if you can solidify that guard position, I'm telling you, Garrett Bradbury will look a lot better. Because, you drafted him in the first round, and, there's some concerns there. If you put two good guards around him, I think he'll be better. You've seen improvement from him, but at the end of the season, you said it, Pat, he really struggled. And he might have been fighting through some injuries. He got bull rushed a lot. He was on his butt a lot. So, last thing I'll end with is literally at the end of every year, Zimmer goes in that end of the season presser, and he says, all our offensive line fought the rear end off. You know what that code is for? Our offensive line tried hard, but they stayed.
They weren't good.
That's what it's going
That's literally
for.
what he means.
It literally is every year. You got to solidify the guard position. We're going to be on, let's see, Zimmer and offensive coordinators. We're probably going to be on our sixth offensive coordinator. We're going to be on our sixth offensive guard in Zimmer's tenure here. Literally F-line, Nick Easton, Tom Compton, Mike Remmers. Like, these guys are just getting thrown in there like an assembly line. Like, they have to solidify that position. And like you said, Pat, you brought his name up. Wyatt Davis will probably be there in the first round at 14.
Should be.
He's a guard. Usually you don't take those guys in the first round that high. But if he's there, if you add him free agency and pick him up, then you got to feel pretty good about your offensive line.
Yep.
And like I said, if they're going to get where they want to go, their offense has to be elite. And even if it means you got to continue to piece things together defensively, like I still say you go all in on the offensive route and, gear toward a little more passing in your offense, and that's going to start solidifying your offensive line.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with both of you guys. I don't think it's rocket science with what the Vikings need to do. It's just whether they want to do it or not. And that seems to be the problem with them year after year with their offensive line. I mean, it's been a problem. It's just whether they really want to go all in. And you know what? I'm starting to think this is a theme with the Vikings. They kind of just half-ass a lot of their moves. Like, they're kind of just like, hey, we'll draft somebody in the second round in Ezra to clear up the O-line. They never really over-the-top fix anything. And you see a lot of teams in the NFL, the good teams, they do it. I mean, the Rams, their defense is loaded. They traded a lot for Jalen Ramsey. Seahawks, their defense has turned it around this year. They traded a lot for Jamal Adams. I mean, I think Spielman almost holds a little too much value onto these draft picks. And instead of just being like, hey, you know what? I'm going to go send New England a first and a sign and trade for Thuney or something like that. Like, I mean, just do something. I mean, yeah, maybe it doesn't make sense on paper. Just do a bold move or something like that.
Exactly.
Yeah,
like,
I'm with you.
Exactly. Like, do we really need to draft 15 guys again?
No, we don't.
Like sometimes quality over quantity.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, I get having a ton of draft picks. They already have 11 before we've even gotten to compensatory picks. Like,
but Spielman though. Spielman just sees those. He loves those picks though.
Slick Rick.
Slick. I don't know. It's so funny with him.
That's crazy.
Like, they already have 11 picks already for their next year's draft, and like we said, 2 in the third, 3 in the fourth, 3 in the fifth, and then a 6th and a 7th. And probably on the last day 3, they'll have 4 7th rounders.
Or how about this? Last year, Trent Williams. He was kind of the name that was being thrown around. What did he end up getting traded for? A 5th round draft pick. So you're like, come on. Like, listen, would Vikings fans like Spielman, do you really think if we traded let's just say they go over the top, they give him like 2 fourths, 2 fifths, and a third for a pretty good guard, nobody's going to care. Nobody's going to care when it's Sunday and you have a good offensive line and you roll that out. It's not like Vikings fans at the back of their mind are going to be like, God, I really wish we had that third-round draft pick. I'm sure he would have. No, that's not how people think. That's not how the NFL works. I agree with you guys. Jim, I'm hoping you're right about the Bradbury thing. I actually agree with that now more I see it. I hope once he's next to better guards, he looks better. Too many times this year, I just see him on the ground and he's getting beat. I'm hoping, listen, he is so up and down, I feel like. I feel like when the offensive line has good days, he has a good day. When they have bad days, he has really bad days. I'm hoping you're right with that. But, yeah, I mean, I agree with both of you guys. I mean, this has to be number one, if not number two. I mean, the trenches have to be number one, number two for what they want to accomplish this offseason. I mean,
it's really, that's what it's going to come down to. I mean, and defensive line too. Like, I'm sure we'll get into that. Like, I mean, they're going to have to pour some money into there too. Like,
yep.
They're probably not going to be able to accomplish through it all, like, through the draft. Like, they're going to have to find ways to bring in some decent guys. Like, we're not talking about bringing in, you're not going to bring in all these studs, but guys that can fit and just produce for you.
Yeah.
Like a guy like, I'm trying to think of a free agent signing, a guard that, like, even a guy like Josh Klein, like, who unfortunately couldn't play this year, but, like, he was pretty good. Like, he was fine. Like, he wasn't, like, great, but, like, he fit. But what happened? Like, Pat Elflein was on the left, was a left guard, and Bradbury's the rookie center. So what did teams do? They just attacked him. Like, what they do this year? They just attack Dakota Dozier. Simple twist we saw on film every week, and he just gets beat.
Yep. I mean, I agree. I mean, I guess I'm looking back on that Klein. I mean, I guess I never really thought about it, but it would be nice to have him there. I guess / I don't know how much better he would have been, but
yeah, I mean, I don't. I mean, the only reason, like, he was just like he wasn't getting killed, I guess I'd say.
Yeah, like Samia and Dozier this year. Sometimes they're getting killed. I mean, they're not even. They're not even trying to win the rep. I mean, it is just soft out of them.
And you say Samia, like, isn't it kind of scary how, like, he basically redshirted in 2019?
Yep.
And that's how he looks.
Yeah.
Like, when he comes out, like,
that's what I'm saying.
A 4th-round
pick. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's not like he was an undrafted guy. Like,
at Oklahoma, he played in big games.
Yep. And he's gone against the best. Like, he played probably Bama. He was definitely playing Bama, playing Georgia those years in the college football championship. I mean, in the playoff.
That's kind of scary. Like, and it kind of, like why, and it's kind of scary how they haven't found, like, they can't even, like, develop a guy that comes in and just plays well. Like,
God, I mean, we say that about Wyatt Davis, but if we bring Wyatt Davis in here, I mean, the Vikings might ruin his career. I mean, this guy might. I mean, I don't know if any offense. You know what? That actually might just be a drafting players in general. Besides skill position, I'm scared of them developing them.
Yeah, they can't do it.
Yeah, it's tough. But those are. Oh, you got one last thing?
No, I was gonna say maybe because they're so focused on run blocking.
Yeah, they forget there's another. Hey, it's 2020. There's pass blocking. That's an important thing. But Vikings offensive line. Hopefully they get it cleared up for next year. Really, no expectations though. So you surprise us. Anyways, that's a video. Thank you guys for watching so much. See you guys next time. Skol Cast. Leave a like, comment down below, and sub if you guys are new. See you guys next time.